Hi, I'm Stu, and welcome back to another LumaFusion video tutorial. Today, I'm going to show you how I go about recording audio directly on my iPad using the internal mics of the iPad and also LumaFusion for the voiceover capture. Because I'm teaching you about my audio workflow, some of the audio is going to sound a little bit echoey and added reverb, and that's because I'm not going to process that audio at all. So you can hear the difference between before and after the audio is actually being processed. So some of it will sound like this, a little bit echoey, and other bits will sound like this, where it's cleaner, and I've applied my hard gate master quack and also played with the equalization a little bit. But just be aware that the audio is going to sound a little bit weird sometimes, and that's because I want you to hear the true audio without me processing it and then processing it again in the video tutorial. Okay, let's get started. I've got this aerial time lapse of an urban traffic circle, or as we would call it in the UK, a roundabout, and I want to just provide a little bit of a voiceover for it. So to get into voiceover, you can tap on the plus symbol and tap voiceover, or press the V key if you're using the Apple keyboard. Now, before you get started recording voiceover, tap on the three little circles, and from there, you want to change your audio input gain to 90%. This will give you the cleanest audio. Make sure your sample rate's at the highest setting of 48 kHz, and of course, put your channels to stereo. Once you've done that, you're pretty much ready to record. All I'm going to do now is press the record button and just record a little bit of audio relating to the video clip above. Pressing record, we get the countdown. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look at an urban traffic circle with cars below. And stop. Let's tuck that out of the way. Now you can review the audio recording. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look at an urban traffic circle with cars below. And if it's all okay for you, tap the tick and then you can now edit the audio. And what we're going to do from here is just trim out the in and out point and take care of any breath sounds. First things first, I'm going to detach the audio from the clip just to give me a little bit more flexibility. I'm then just going to drag in the edge like so, move everything back along and drag in the out point edge as well. Just going to play it back once more. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. That little delay point there for the breath we're going to remove. Traffic circle with cars below. So what we'll do is we'll zoom into it a little bit and then we'll just trim up. Command B, or press the little scissors icon, move that along. And again, play it through. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look at an urban traffic circle with cars below. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I am recording this in my living room and there's a little bit of reverb. And that's just down to the fact that I have wooden floors, quite empty walls. There's no soundproofing or dampening whatsoever. The one thing that I'm going to be looking to do is just remove some of that reverb and just calm it down a little bit. Now, how I go about doing that is I'll highlight the audio and I'll then go into Option P on the keyboard, and that will then take me to my audio effects. You can see the different filters and controls that I have. Now what we're going to use is the dynamics processor, but I've already got what I call a DP hard gate with master quack as in ducking. So this one here relates to the dynamics processor. If we tap on that, it will apply it. And then if we go into the audio, you'll see I've got a dynamics processor set up here. And all I've done with this is I haven't made any changes to any of the sliders below, like compression threshold, headroom, expansion ratio, because quite frankly, I'm not 100% sure what these things do. I have gone into the presets and I've picked hard gate. Now what this does is anytime there are gaps or silences in the speech, it will reduce the sound pretty much down to nothing. So it just cleans up, evens out your speech. And you'll see if I play it back now. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look, and that's it for that. So we'll apply that to the next clip as well, and then we'll look at playing with the graphic equalizer afterwards. Just to show you on the second clip, I'm going to double tap it this time, and from there I'm going to choose dynamics processor, which is one of two ways of limiting the sound. Tap on it like so, and I'm just going to tap on the preset and choose hard gate. I'm then going to go up to configuration and make sure that it's set to master, and that's it, we're done. Play back this bit. It's an urban traffic circle with cars below. And then if I play the whole sequence again, aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look at an urban traffic circle with cars below. Now at this point normally, I'd pretty much call it a day. I don't really need to do anything else. The mics on the iPad Pro have done their job. Yes, there's a little bit of reverb. However, I don't mind that so much. Next, let's fine tune things with the graphic equalizer. Okay, so we're in the new version 3 LumaFusion graphic equalizer UI. Now, I am by no means an audio expert. Everything I have learned about audio has been self-taught and mainly done through trial and error. When it comes to graphic equalizers, from what I understand, if you break it down into 1, 2, 3 controls on the left, these are for the bassier end of the audio, the sound. The fourth control point is the transition between bass into sort of mid-tone audio. You've then got the 3 mid-tones that you would play about with. And then you've got another transition control point between mid-tone and the higher end of things, the sort of more treble end of things. And then you've got the final 3 control points. So it's a bit like using a histogram in video or in stills, whereby the left-hand side deals with the shadow detail, the middle is the mid-tones, and the right-hand side is the highlights. Going to think upon it like that. So what I tend to do is adjust each control point on an individual basis. Now, I've got quite a deep voice and I like it to sound as rich as possible. So I'm going to be concentrating on these 3 control points at the base end of things, just to make sure that my audio is as rich as possible. Now, a little tip for you when working with Equalizer is when you tap play, aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look, and you have a short clip like this, which is just 3 seconds long, double tap play, and that will loop the audio, giving you more time to make any changes using the control points. So you just go double tap. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Both ways. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic. Stop it for a second, and then you can then move the control points. The downside to doing this, of course, is that it does get repetitive, listening to the same piece of audio again and again and again, but that's the nature of the job. So just double tap. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. I take one control point at a time. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. And I will push it down. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. And then I'll push it up. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. So the 20 hertz level, aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Start 40 hertz. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. See how the sound thins out. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. If I go the other way. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. The bass gets boosted. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. I don't want it too much though. So I'm going to set it around about between 5 and 10. Cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night. Do 80 cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. It out. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Again, just pushing it a little bit. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Control point at 160 hertz. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. It crunches down the audio and thins it out even further. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. So aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Then we're on to the kind of mid-tones. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. I'm not wanting to do anything 320 hertz. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. That really crunches the audio down. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. And I don't need that treble, which probably means the last 3 I'm not going to need to adjust either, but let's take a look at it. Cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. These do help to do. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Is just dampen down the reverb a little bit. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. And then finally back to the 20 hertz at the other end of things. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Aerial time lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look. Now stop this, because I'm pretty sure it's driving you as crazy as myself. You can see the shape of the graphic equalizer, and it's a case of increasing 2 of the points to make the bass a little bit richer, and then increasing 3 of the points, including the transitional point, to soften down the reverb a little bit further. And once you've got those settings and you're happy with them, you can copy them to your clipboard. You can go back out and you can then apply the settings and make sure it's audio only to the other clip. In that way, when we play it back, aerial time-lapse at night with a cinematic and futuristic look at an urban traffic circle with cars below. And that's it, we're all done. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, don't forget to sub to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one. See you later.